Hey everyone, I'm Aaron the Toy Enhancer and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to take a look at Dungeons & Dragons Warduke. But first, let me tell a little story about my top 5 go-to action figures from when I was a child. And this is definitely, hands down, one of them right here. Out of my top 5, and these are 3 3/4 inch figs from when I was a kid. And these are in no particular order. Crystar, Snake Eyes, V2, Return of the Jedi, Luke Skywalker, Duke, and the Warduke. All right, so let's talk about the Warduke. This is a figure that I had when I was a kid. I didn't know it was Dungeons and Dragons. I didn't know his name was Warduke or anything like that. I just knew that this guy looked evil and definitely a villain, you know, of barbarian structure, you might say. Very epic looking. And these top 5 figures right now that I showed you were always my go-to when I had to go take off with mom to go to a doctor's appointment or anywhere, the post office, the store, and I would take one of these figs with me just to occupy my time. And when we were kids, we could make a bench, a little table, anything could become a play set for us. We could just start our own little adventure out there while we were waiting for mom to finish things up or whatnot. So those were my top 5 go-to for sticking the figure in my pocket and taking it somewhere to occupy my time. And I love the Warduke because he reminded me of the movie Beastmaster, and the guy, one of the villains, wore a helmet very similar to his, and it ended up slicing off one of the horns on the side of it. So when I was a kid, on my original one, of course, this isn't my original one. This is one that I've bought since I was an adult. I actually broke off the horn section so I could mimic that play scene over and over. But yeah, this was a really fun character for me, and just a really good childhood memory. So it brings us to date to this. I got this Warduke at Toylanta. We did some trading for him, and I didn't know until later on. I knew there was a nice Warduke out by NECA, but I didn't know later on that there was such a difference. There's another version that has a very bronzy looking belt, and the necklace is more bronzy looking, and it's just more detailed out. So there is another version. Why this version goes for more on eBay, I'm not sure. I couldn't tell you, but this version is a little harder to get for some reason, at least for me. And I followed it on eBay, and it fluctuates anywhere from $50 to $80. Like right now, it's holding at 80. So it's a it's a cool figure that I've looked at before and just didn't want to dump a lot of money into it. But we had some items for trade, and I did it. Finally got me a Warduke. So let's crack this guy open and see what he's all about. Alright guys, let's take a quick look at the card. And it's from the Dungeons and Dragons 50th anniversary Warduke. This is the one that's more traditional colors, like a faded color, like the traditional vintage toy. Let's bring out the Warduke, and then we're going to talk about him. Here he is, right out of the package. Looking real nice. The armored glove has like a looks like a leather inlay. Looking tough. Take a look at the boots. Very nice. I like it a lot. I love the spikes. Oops. Warduke. He's a very awesome figure. Let's talk about him a little bit. There was a few things that I wanted to point out. When I took him out of the package, one of the first things that I noticed, and I'm super glad that nothing went wrong, is right here on the tips of this Warduke. You can tell it's a very thin, hard plastic, and this will break if I smash him down, or if he falls for some reason and lands on these horns. They will just snap, and they feel very thin and frail. So I wanted to point that out to you guys. Be super extra careful, especially when you're pulling them out of the plastic. I got real lucky. I don't think I did any damage, but you can tell. You'll be able to tell when you get them. Oh man, that's just dying to break, dying to break. Um, Another thing that was kind of sucky about him was I had to glue the sheath back onto his belt because there was no way it was going to stay on without it. And I also noticed when you pull a sword, you have to be careful because you don't want to hit his helmet there and break that. It is a little tight getting the sword in and out, but it feels better now that I've worked it in there a few times, so it's not too bad now. But first attempt was a little scary. I like how it comes to a everything comes to a clean close when you put it all the way down in there. It's very nice. Even the detail on the back of the helmet, it's the little red dots, and they did a good job on them. And we'll come over here to the side, but just some minor little flaws here and there on them, like the thin plastic. It should have been a more flexible plastic, so I wouldn't have to worry about this breaking right here. But be extra careful, guys. I guarantee that's the first thing that'll break. And then it comes down to here to another sword. This guy's just full of blades. And this is in like a hardened case that this pulls out relatively easy. And it's just a long, or it's a short sword, but a long, narrow dagger on it. Nothing too fancy. Take a look at the handle, the hilt. Nothing fancy. And it just slides right into there. I love the little gold chain and how it dangles. It's very cool. It has a little satchel right there. And then let's go around to the other side. where he has another blade. So this guy's ready to put some steel into somebody. And earlier, this one was a little tough coming out also. Again, be careful. Yeah, this is a little tough trying to pull that one out. So I just wanted to point those out. And like I said, my overall main concern, he has just single jointed knees. Swivel at the boot. Nothing fancy at all. Single elbow. But still, it's the War Duke. And it's the War Duke from when I was a kid. So it's an amazing figure for me. I'm definitely probably going to get the more detailed one that NECA makes because I love this character so much that I wouldn't mind having both of them. But I really, really wanted to track this one down first. He's more to the. Let's bring out the vintage real quick. And I gotta be careful with this guy because you do not want him to fall because if he takes the spill, then yeah, those horns are definitely gonna bust. Be real careful. We'll take out the vintage, and I mean, man. So you can imagine after I've had this one burned into my memory for so many years of being a kid and playing with it over and over from GI Joe. He would be in the GI Joes, the Transformer group, every group he was in there playing along with all the other toys. So you can imagine what a difference it is to have this character and like to finally have a great rendition of him. Very awesome thing. Real quick, guys, I wanted to show you the shield. Almost forgot to show it to you. And yeah, it's very similar to the one that is on the vintage, just detailed out way more. And the cool part about this is it has like a little leather strap in the inside. I thought that was really neat. And a handle so his arm would feed into there. Right? Let's see. Hell yeah. Nice. It looks great. I love this figure, guys. Let me know if you had a War Duke when you were growing up. Let me know your top 5 figures, that you would grab, your go-to figures, even if it's not 5 of them. Just name off a couple in the comments. Let me know what was your favorite figures when you were growing up in the 80s. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to give a like, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next time.